Coming to you live from the suburbs, this is Thick Man Inc.
We are live here with your host, top 100 Madden player Tristan Kilgannon, and ESPN featured athlete Isaiah Ashley. Today we're going to be making our free agency predictions. We are always 100% right here at the Thick Man Inc. headquarters. Timestamps will be down in the description below. Leave us a like, lob us a sub.
And first off, we will be discussing one of the more high-end commodities on the market, Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney is the best run-stopping defensive end in football. It is a shame he is underappreciated because of what he is so good at. He is not exactly a sack master, will never get you double-digit sacks on a consistent
pressure
basis.
master.
Pressure ain't a sack. But Clowney is a good defensive player, and I think, like I've said many times before, he will be heading to the Dolphins. And rumors swirled when Jadeveon Clowney demanded a trade that he would be headed to Miami for some meaningful capital. And that didn't quite work out, but Miami has the cap space to sate Mr. Clowney's desires of around a $20 to $22 million contract. I think that's very realistic for him. I think it's better than he'll get anywhere else, considering a lot of teams aren't sold on defensive ends who can't rush the quarterback. And I think Clowney will sign in Miami, giving them one of the strongest free agency classes this year.
There's been a lot of rumors there's been some rumors, I'm not going to say there's a lot, that the Giants are on his short list of teams he wants to go to. I don't think the Giants are going to look to sign them because I don't know how good they feel about signing Olivier Vernon a few years ago. A very good run-stopping defensive end, was an impact player, but he didn't exactly rush the passer how they like. I think they're looking for players to get sacks. Like you said, Clowney doesn't get as many sacks. I hope they sign him because of the impact he has on the defensive side of the ball, but I do not think the Seahawks made this move just to let him walk. I think the Seahawks are going to look to re-sign him. They have a decent amount of cap space, not a ton. I think the Seahawks almost always overachieve. They're not losing any pieces. And I think bolstering the roster with a player they traded for last year is what's going to happen here.
Well, I agree. The Seahawks are looking to bolster the roster, but it's not going to be with Clowney. They're going to sign Gerald McCoy. You like that transition? A seamless transition.
Good job.
But Gerald McCoy had a subpar season on the Carolina Panthers, had some of that quote-unquote revenge with his in-division rival in the Buccaneers.
I mean, he had 5 sacks at defensive tackle. That's not bad.
It's down for what he's expected of. And his 1 year is expired. He is older than the Panthers would like. They're trying to get young at that position. I think he is headed out west to the great city of Seattle. Bolster the defense, bring back the Legion of Boom, but since he's a D lineman, we can have a little bit of Legion of Blobs.
I don't think there's any way he goes to the Seahawks. It does not feel right. I mean, he's been with the Panthers, been with the Buccaneers, 2 warm cities. I don't think he's going to want to move to Seattle. I think it's more likely that he winds up with the... Oh, well, I just talked about him not going to a cold weather team, but I think he's going to go with the Colts. I think the Colts, they have over $80 million of cap space. I think they're going to overpay for Gerald McCoy, really solve their... They don't have the best defensive tackles, so I think that is going to be someone they're going to look to add, and they're going to overpay for him slightly.
Isn't Lucas Oil Stadium indoors?
Maybe it is.
Yes, it is indoors.
But I'm saying as a cold city, not playing.
He's playing in a dome. I don't think he cares about the weather.
He might. A lot of people. I think you underestimate people who care about the weather, Isaiah.
I think you underestimate what $1 million can make someone do.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying I think he's going to sign there.
But moving on, DJ Reader is our next one.
Grimsley alum,
one of the most underappreciated D linemen in the NFL, fills a similar role to Jadeveon Clowney, a premier run stopper. He is part of the reason those Texans D lines are so elite. J.J. Watt, DJ Reader, Jadeveon Clowney, 3 monsters up front. And Reader is looking to part ways with the Texans after his storied career there. I think he's going to spread his wings and fly north to the great city of Buffalo. Now, the Bills are looking to rebuild their defense, not even rebuild, upgrade their defense. They've retained all their offensive linemen. They have a solid receiving core, in my opinion, with John Brown. They've got good running backs. All they need is a better defense. That carried them last year and will carry them this year. DJ will be signed by the Bills, eat up a little bit of their massive cap, and be very successful there.
I kind of didn't even think about the Bills. I should have thought about them more. I could definitely see him landing with the Bills. I think he's going to land with the Broncos, though. I think the Broncos are going to look to help out Von Miller and the defensive line. DJ Reader had 30 QB pressures last year, so he also showed an ability to rush the passer. That part of his game is a little underrated, and I think he'd fit in perfectly there. They don't have the biggest name D tackles, so I think that be an excellent landing spot, and I could definitely see him landing with the Broncos.
Well, DJ Reader is certainly big, but I don't think he wants to go to Denver. No one likes being a mile high, after all.
I mean, Von Miller's there. Best pass, top 5 pass rusher in the NFL.
But what's he done for me lately? Speaking of pass rushers, we have a premier pass rusher in Shaq Barret. And he's a little bit down our free agency discussion list. That's because he's said repeatedly he is willing to play under the franchise tag. And that's what we both think is going to happen. Shaq Barret will stay with the Buccaneers under franchise tag.
Yeah, I mean, 19.5 sacks, closing in on the record, which I think is 21.5 or 22 by Michael Strahan. So he's expressed willingness. I think he's going to play under the franchise tag. Probably the Bucs want to see if he can repeat his success. So I'll be staying there this season. Vic Beasley. I contemplated long and hard where I thought Vic Beasley was going to play. Could not quite figure it out. It feels like he could go almost anywhere at this point. He's definitely not going to stay with the Falcons. And I think he's a bit of a random one for me, but I think he's going to go to Detroit, pair up with Trey Flowers, who played pretty well last year. Maybe if the Cowboys do not resign as many people as they think, they franchise Dak, let go of Cooper, possibly Brian. Maybe they add Beasley to pair with DeMarcus Lawrence and Robert Quinn, bolster their defensive line even more. Maybe that'll happen. I'm not quite sure where Vic Beasley is going to land this offseason.
After Amari Cooper and Dak's contract, I don't think the Cowboys have the facilities for that. I think Vic Beasley is putting on his toboggan and heading north to the city of Buffalo Wild Wings. He will also be joining DJ Reader on the Bills defense, and it will create one of the best defenses in the National Football League. I'd say the best. Pair those two with Josh Norman, who is signed there, and I think the Bills will be set for next year. Vic Beasley wants to be a winner, and he will be a winner in Buffalo.
Notice how one of Isaiah's favorite teams is landing all of the free agents.
Notice how one of Isaiah's favorite teams is the most cap space of any team, which is that level of competition. There are some bum teams with a bunch of cap space, and then there's the Bills.
The Giants are,
there's some bum teams. Speaking of
bum teams, the Vikings.
Everson Griffin is one of the highest tier pass rushers in the NFL, or at least he was a few years ago. He's fallen off a bit, and you know what? It happens. He's getting old. But the Vikings until very recently had $1.5 million of cap space. They were not going to be able to re-sign Griffin. Thankfully, they have parted ways with Xavier Rhodes, a man who fell off faster than... I can't say that. A man who fell off hard. And Linval Joseph. I'm not going to say an inappropriate joke. Think of the children. But he fell off hard. And Linval Joseph, a man who I love to watch but accept the departing of. They will re-sign Griffin thanks to these moves, and it'll take up pretty much all of their cap space.
I mean, I don't have much to add there. You have the Vikings elite reporter and Isaiah Ashley saying what's going to happen. I agree with him. I'm going to trust his insight, his fandom. Moving on, we have the cornerbacks. Starting off the former Bronco, Chris Harris Jr. He is at the end of a spectacular career, and he is tired of losing. He didn't win a Super Bowl with the Broncos, but I think he's going to look to regain that. He's going to sign with the Chiefs, help out their cornerback situation, help out their defensive situation, which turned out to get better near the end of last season and is going to improve with his addition. He wants to play with a great QB, wants to play for a winning team. This is the best situation he could possibly land in.
Did you just say Chris Harris didn't win a Super Bowl?
No, I said he won a Super Bowl.
Okay, thank you.
I said he's tired of losing and not doing too well.
Thought I misheard you there, but Chris Harris is a great cornerback, nearing the end of his lifespan in the NFL. And I think, like many great cornerbacks, the Texans will overpay for him. I think the Houston Texans will tap into their $47 million of cap and sign Chris Harris to a contract which is a little bit too high. But Chris Harris will replace, I'd say, the Honey Badger, but he's been gone for a little bit. He'll be the latest and greatest overpaid cornerback for the Houston Texans.
We're just guessing at this point. It's hard to predict where someone wants to play.
You're just guessing. I'm telling them where it's going to be.
I mean, you're the one who said Tom Brady's going to sign with the Chiefs.
If Patrick Mahomes has the coronavirus. My sources tell me he does. My sources have been wrong. Very rarely, but it happens. But we're going to wrap things up. We got two more defensive players. We got Devin McCourty, the phenomenal New England Patriots cornerback, and I think he will be staying in New England.
Twin of Jason McCourty.
Partially because of that, partially because I think he is one of the best defensive players in the NFL, and he will return to the Patriots. He will be giving Tom Brady some help if Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the coronavirus. He will be setting them up for another Super Bowl run.
Yeah, he's been with the team for the past 9 years. His brother also plays for the team, twin brother. So I don't think he really is going to want to leave. They're probably going to look to re-sign him in order to also retain Jason McCourty. Was a phenomenal defensive player last year. Part of the defense that was the best defensive league through the first half of the season. Got slightly worse near the second half of the season, but still top 5, top 1 defense. They were extremely good. So yeah, I agree he's going to stay there.
And finally, our last player, Trae Waynes. And Trae Waynes will be departing from the land of purple in Minnesota and heading down south. The Cowboys, since Byron Jones is departing, will have a needed cornerback. And Trae Waynes is a discount Byron Jones. He is one of the fastest players in the NFL, but at points his coach has been found lacking. For the sake of the Cowboys, I hope it isn't, but he is off to Dallas to sign.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't, like you said, the Vikings don't have enough cap. They've spent a lot of cap on Thielen, Diggs, Cousins, Barr, Harrison Smith. Danielle Hunter has a $15 million a year salary. So they're in a rough spot with salary. I bet they wish they could retain Waynes. I definitely could see him going to the Cowboys. He could go to a wide variety of teams given he's not a high commodity at cornerback. So we'll have to see where that goes. That has been our free agency predictions. Let us know where you think Tom Brady is going. Let us know what you think about the Cowboys situation. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. See you next time.
Adios.